Welcome to the Best Family on the Block podcast, where a mother and her two daughters talk about love, life, and everything in between. Episode 8, Paula's Childhood, featuring her sister Dawn. Hi, Aunt Dawn.
Hi. Hello. Whoop, whoop. Now we gonna get the nitty and the gritty.
So we thought it would be fun to kind of sit down with Mom and talk about her childhood. She has a very unique childhood, and so we also thought it would be a good idea to invite her sister on to just kind of talk about all of the things and all how it was like when you were younger. I can't talk. Sorry.
It wasn't that long ago, too.
Right.
Yes, very young people here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So normally we start off the episode with recommendations, but if you remember on our last episode, we talked about how we are all watching Big Brother. Not really a whole lot to update you on the show other than...
There's only been 2 episodes since we last recorded. That was the HOH, doing his nominations, as well as the Power of Veto was the most recent episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so we have we are recording this on the quote live eviction
night
episode, which hasn't aired yet, so we don't know who's going home the first eviction, but we do know that the 2 nominees are Keisha and Kevin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll find out tonight who goes home.
Yeah. Because the person who won the Power Veto, Enzo, he decided not to use it. He thought it was a little bit too early in the game to kind of make that kind of a big move to veto one of the nominations.
Mm-hmm.
So just Keisha and Kevin are evicted.
No, they're nominated.
Nominated. Enzo did not use his Power Veto win that he had. So it'll be interesting. I don't think any of us are really...
Was anyone surprised that Tyler has final 2 deals with everyone in the house?
But he didn't want that.
I know.
He was trying to be...
But he's not one of the kind of people that says no.
I feel like it's kind of hard to, in that situation, to even say oh, I don't know about that, because then you're gonna have a target on your back from that person.
Well, and then
also like watching Ian lie or try to lie. I know, try to lie to Kevin when Kevin was like, I don't want to put you in a bad spot, but would you be my house guest choice? And Ian was just kind of like, oh, it's it's really early in the game for that.
I like Ian a lot. I
love Ian.
I also like Kevin, but I feel like
Kevin annoyed me.
He has let the nomination really get to him, and I feel so bad because it's ruining his game. He
got too emotional. It's the first
getting too emotional about it. It's week 1. He can't take it personally.
Yeah.
I don't care either which one goes home. Neither one of them.
I think I'd like Kevin to stay so he can redeem himself.
Yes, I would prefer Kevin to stay.
Was to begin with.
I'm not a big fan of Keisha. I did think it was funny how immediately Janelle and Kaysar decided to join forces again for the 3rd time.
Well, so what I think is funny is that these people are all stars. They've all played this game before, and a lot of them are exhibiting the same gameplay that they did the first time that they played. So why no one suspects Tyler when he's agreed to be final 2 with everyone? Why no one is questioning that? Obviously nobody knows, but I would be suspicious.
Yeah.
And the fact that I guess everybody knows Janelle and Kaysar are working together, but it's
kind of obvious.
But you would think that they kind of step outside of their...
You would think that they would at least try to keep it more on the down low than oh yeah, I won safety suite, so I'm going to take Janelle anyway.
The problem is they aligned themselves whether they wanted to or not by doing the safety suite.
True.
Yeah.
By saying, I don't feel safe.
Targets.
Right. They painted an even bigger target on their back, and they kind of didn't have a choice but to work together, even though, even if he hadn't named her as his safety person.
Yeah.
So...
Anyway, so that's the Big Brother update so far. We're recording this on, like I said, on Thursday, so we will know in a couple of hours who actually did go home, and maybe even who the next HOH is.
We probably won't. Because usually the first few are...
They're going to start the HOH competition.
They're going to start it because it's an endurance competition, more than likely.
Unless it's trivia about past seasons.
That would be fun. But I feel like they're going to make it an endurance competition.
Yeah.
Like they kind of tend to.
It's hard to do trivia on past seasons if they didn't watch the past seasons. So
yeah.
Then they're not really all-stars.
Mm-hmm. Well.
Okay, so moving on to today's topic.
So Morgan and I are going to kind of just interview you guys and ask the questions, and then you guys can answer however you'd like. And yeah, we'll have fun. Started.
We are ready. So Dawn has not seen any of the interview questions.
Yes,
so they will all be a surprise to her. I only just looked at them as we sat down to start the Zoom call. So
nothing too crazy.
I don't even really. No, it's not going to be. Yeah, it'll be. Okay.
So Aunt Dawn is the older sister.
Yes.
What is the age difference between the two of you?
18 months.
Yeah.
So not much.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
We're close in age.
Tell us a little bit about your like early childhood. I know you may not necessarily remember, but like tell us about your parents, how you came into the world, I guess.
How I came into the world?
Yeah. Well, maybe not specifics.
Well,
it's hard to ask a question without giving away your history. Like anyway, everyone will hear what I'm talking about in a second.
Okay. How I came to be. My birth mother and my Paula's father got together a couple months after I was born, and then they ended up having Paula.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to think of how long. Paula and I were in foster care for a few years. And
well, to kind of back up on that a little bit, because I'm sure people want to know why we were in foster homes. Of course, Dawn and I were really, really young and don't have really memories of this.
Mm-hmm.
So all we can really go by is stories that our dad has told us.
Yes.
And stories that, our aunt and other members of our family have told us. And from what we understand, my dad and our birth mother, we're not the greatest of parents. Our dad.
She was 16 when she had me.
So she was 16 when she had Dawn, and so that made her about 18 when she had me. So she was very young. She was obviously not married when she had Dawn.
How old was Grandpa when he came into the picture?
I want to say when they got married, he was 20, maybe, or 21.
So
he had just gotten out of the military. He had served in Vietnam, and I think it was his second tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know the story of how they met. That would be an interesting story. Yeah. But from what I hear, like the stories that Dad has told, he fell in love with Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because she was such a beautiful baby, and I guess he just really wanted to be a dad. And so they got married. It probably was not the best thing that happened that they got married, but whatever, they did. And then they had me, and I don't know, did they get married? Was she already pregnant with me, or did they get married and then she got pregnant? Like, I don't know. But then after she had us, our dad was working a full-time job to support the family, and she was not doing a very good job of taking care of us.
Right.
And Dawn, you probably have heard some of these stories too. Like there were times Dad would come home from work and you and I would be in the same diaper
all day, the cribs. I can actually remember laying in the crib with my Flintstone bottle, and it just looking at walls. And how long I was there looking at the walls. I have no memory of how long, but
which is crazy because you couldn't have been more than two.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
even
Or 3.
you know, you were very young.
Yep.
So that went on for.
How old were you when Grandpa left?
So the story, I don't know when Dad left, but so the story is this was a pretty common occurrence where Dad would come home from work and he would have to bathe us and take care of us and feed us and change us, and it just got to be too much for him. And you have to understand, he too was very young. Again, this was the, you know, late 60s, early 70s. And he just had enough, and he took off, and he left. And I believe that is when we lived in California at the time, and I believe that is when he moved up to like the Northern California area and became a hippie and kind of just lived that life. And then I don't know how long she had us without Dad before we were put in foster home. A lot of those details are fuzzy. But the reality is, her, and Dawn, you might remember this better than I, from what I hear, her own mother had reported her to Child Protective Services.
Yes.
And so we were put in foster homes, and then we were in foster homes for two and a half years.
About 2.5 years.
Now, Dawn, because you're a little bit older, do you remember being in the foster homes?
Yes.
Because you were, I mean, were you in grade school by the time you got taken out?
No, I was before grade school.
Okay. So maybe like
I remember
4 or 5.
just, I remember.
I think I was 2.
Yeah. I remember like being in like families with multiple kids. So we had quote unquote stepsisters and stepbrothers and, you know, fosters, but we were fosters. I remember one specific house that we were together, only because I vividly remember the time that you had peed the bed and you were only 2 years old and you were getting beaten with the broomstick.
Yeah, I don't really have a memory of being in the foster homes, but one memory I do have is a woman in a blue robe standing over me, getting ready to beat me, because I wet the bed. Like, I knew it was because I wet the bed, and I don't know how old I was, but I couldn't have been. I mean, I was young. I think you were about 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, because we didn't get reunited with
Grandpa
Dad until I was 5, because they ended up, Mom and Dad got married when I was 5 years old. You were like 4 in California.
The details on that are kind of hazy for me, because so we were in foster homes for 2.5 years, and I guess we were together. I'm going to assume we were together those 2.5 years.
I'm going to assume 2.
And then we must have at some point gotten reunited back with our birth mother.
Right.
Because when Dad found us, she's the one who brought us up to Northern California.
Right.
So we must have gotten back together with her.
Yes.
Somehow.
Yes.
So do you remember?
I don't remember. I actually remember going to a white house with a field there was on the porch, there was bunny rabbits and there was chickens and stuff like that. But I don't remember whose house it was or why we were going there. But that's like the last I remember of like with Kathy at all.
So Kathy is the name of our birth mother.
Birth mother. Yes.
Maybe it was her mom's house or something?
I don't know. Because I remember Kathy used to live in a trailer for many years.
That's so interesting. It's interesting, like what your brain chooses to remember. Because like I have many vivid memories from like being 4 and 5 of like preschool, kindergarten.
I have none.
Yeah, like it's different.
Neither do I, Morgan.
I have virtually no memories. Like, I don't remember 9/11. I don't remember much of any of my kindergarten years, except for like a few vivid memories of you trying to hide the car in the parking lot.
That was kindergarten.
And that's really it. That's all I remember. Those two.
I don't remember anything. Like the
Yeah.
stuff that I'm talking about right now, I only know because our dad has told us, or Dawn, you've told us. So if it wasn't for that.
So you think you got out of Kathy's house around 5 for Dawn, 4 for Mom, around that age?
No.
Yeah.
Well, no.
They left foster care.
For foster
care.
No.
Yeah.
Oh. So you were out of foster care
at
at that age, and then you went back with your mom. How old were you when Grandpa got you girls?
About 4 or 5.
Okay, that's what I was saying.
It was probably all within a certain
like that year.
Yeah.
And so while you guys were in foster care is when he transitioned from hippie to getting saved and becoming a Christian hippie.
So about 2 years or so after he had left, he ended up on a hippie commune up in Northern California, and it was a Christian hippie commune. And he became a Christian, and he was miraculously healed or recovered from drug and alcohol addiction that night. And I guess when he came out of the stupor of whatever he was under the influence of, he realized, hey, I'm a dad and I've got 2 little girls that I need to take care of. And then through some, talking to social workers and different things like that, he was able to track us down. And I guess, we were with Kathy at this point.
So had he already met Grandma at that point?
I think they met when he went to that hippie commune.
Right.
Yes.
But I wasn't sure if they were together when he got you guys.
No. Because when he got us, Kathy came with us.
Right.
And she went up to the hippie commune, and they were going to get remarried. And
he was going to try and save her or get her saved.
And build. Well, she did. She became a Christian, or so she said. And they were going to be a family, and Dawn, you can correct me on this. From what I understand, she had initially intended that she was just going to come up for a visit. And then when her and our dad was going to get back together, she said, well, I have some stuff down in LA that I need to go get. Let me go get it and I'll come back. And then
she left you guys with him.
And never came back.
Okay, because I was wondering, because I know Grandpa is not Dawn's biological dad, so I was curious as to how he became guardian over you if he wasn't biological.
She left
parent.
us,
right? I know. Yes,
yeah. And then he married our mom. What? Maybe 3 months after that.
I think so. I think that's
they
what
had
it was.
A very short engagement.
Yeah.
Like they met and got married within 3, maybe 4 months, if I remember.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they've been together now how long?
70.
Oh Lord.
No, 50 something years now.
No,
it hasn't been 50 yet.
40
coming up
8. No,
I could have sworn at my wedding they were at a 49, 48.
No, because I'm only 50 and I was
4
when they got married.
52. I'm 52 minus 5. I was 5 when they got married. Somebody do the math here.
When's their anniversary?
December 1st.
Yeah.
Sorry,
we'll find out
47.
I think
47.
They're 46 or 47.
52 minus 5.
Thank God we have a teacher in this group.
I'm just waiting for all of you to figure it out.
I can't do math.
No, math is definitely not my strong suit.
So now you said that
married very quickly.
What was your impression of Grandma when they got married? What was your what did you think of her when they got married and she became your
she loved you guys, right? She fell in love with you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
She has been the only mom I ever known.
But do you remember meeting her and what your impression of her was?
No, I don't remember that. I mean, I remember her brushing our hair and stuff, and I remember her taking us to the garden And I remember going into the garden and being able to dig up the carrots and just eating them straight from the ground. Before dirt was a problem.
I have no memory of this. I mean, she's always been our mom, so I don't remember a time when she wasn't.
Yeah. I don't remember
do
exactly.
you remember their wedding day? Because I don't remember.
Yes. I remember that wedding day. I remember it was very windy. I remember we wore like combat boots.
Well, I know that
construction
because
boots.
I've seen pictures, but not
the pictures, the dress.
Memory.
I remember you twirling, trying to twirl it. It didn't go exactly the twirly dance that you wanted it, because it wasn't
I'm
a
my
flare
mother's
out
daughter.
But I remember just watching you spinning and spinning and spinning.
Well, and I know, I mean, I don't remember this, but I know this, that Mom actually made our dresses.
She made our dresses.
And somebody, I think a friend of hers, made her dress, and it was all the same material.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
It was they were hippies. Yes. It was very, I think Mom had, instead of a veil, she had flowers.
Flowers. Yeah, I think she had like a baby's breath wreath in her hair or something like that.
But I don't remember the actual. I've seen pictures of it, and in some of the pictures I look really scared, and then in other pictures I'm smiling. So I who knows? Who knows?
I remember I was trying to get the attention and was eating the flowers that were in my basket.
I remember and that was when we met our grandparents.
Yes.
Who, took us, and we were their grandchildren. Like, there was just never even, a question. Granddad. Yeah, Gma and Granddad. And that was kind of cool because, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a memory of it, but we were their first grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what was it like living on the commune?
It was like Little House on the Prairie.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Like no indoor plumbing.
No indoor plumbing. No. The house.
In fact, Dad loves to tell the story, and I'll tell it now because I know this is something that he loves to tell. I was not very house trained.
House trained? Are you a dog?
I was not really potty trained. I have dogs, so we're house trained. And the outhouse from where our house was, I guess, was up the road a bit. And I would, I guess, get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and sometimes not make it. And there'd be poop on the ground the next morning, that Dad would have to clean up. But I mean, when you don't have to this day, I get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At least you make it this time.
Yeah, I don't have to go as far.
Were there other kids on the commune with you?
Yes. There were other kids. I remember one of the boys' name was Jeffrey. I believe the other one was Joshua.
There were a lot of kids, weren't there?
There was a lot of kids.
I don't remember it.
I remember, okay, so our house had no indoor plumbing. We had outdoor plumbing. So we took a shower outside.
Wow.
I don't remember it being warm water. Maybe it was, but it was like outside. You had like this deck and there was the shower, and that's where we would shower, was outside.
I don't remember that.
In the forest was our backdrop.
Wow.
And then we would have our meals at the big house. And that's where everybody would come together, I guess, and eat. And I remember this huge barrel of honey that was out front of the big house that we used to lift the wooden lid off and eat. And there was this wooden boat that we used to play on. There was this tree that was hollow with a rope that was in the middle of it that we would all try to climb, but we never could succeed.
The only thing I remember is the barrel of honey. And I would stick my hand in,
yes,
and like
just
scoop out scoopfuls of honey. That's the
Like,
only thing I
like Pooh
remember.
Bear.
Yeah.
yes, like Pooh Bear.
Well, and
That's funny.
I remember mom, like later years, telling us like they used to make everything. Like they would make their own yogurt.
Yes,
They would, like
yogurt.
everything was made fresh.
Fresh bread.
This was sustainable living before sustainable living was trendy.
Like now,
now.
right? Exactly. They lived literally off the land. Like they had gardens, and they had, I think they even slaughtered animals on their. I don't know.
Probably. I mean, certain smells brings memories back from there. Like there's this earthy smell. I don't remember the name of it, but it brings back a memory of this woman, Sabina, who used to live on the land. And I could smell that. When I smell that, I think of her. And then the flames from the open fires, like in the big house. Like we used to go to camp when we got older, and they used to have these, the mess hall would have a fireplace in it, and it would be burning, fresh wood while we had breakfast in the morning just to heat it up. And that brought back memories of when we lived in California on the land.
Maybe that's why I like camping so much.
Probably.
Maybe.
Because there's nothing better than sitting around a campfire at night.
How long did you guys live on the commune?
Not that long, right?
Not that long, no.
Because then, so after the commune, you moved to New York?
No. We moved to northern, like even further north in California, to a town called, first I think it was Eureka, and then another town called Ukiah. But we're talking like over the course of a few months. We didn't, probably within that next year, we moved to New York, and we drove across country.
Oh, I remember that.
The only thing I remember about that was going to New Mexico, and Dad has family that lives in New Mexico, and we stayed with them. And I remember everything we touched, you got an electric shock. So Dawn and I would walk around and touch each other, give each other shocks.
Because it was so dry?
Yeah, because it's so dry there.
So you went from super North California down to New Mexico and then back up to New York?
Well, no. So when we were in we went back down to LA to visit our grandmother, Dad's grandpa's mom, because she lived in LA. We went and visited her for a little while, and I think that's when we went to Disneyland. I don't remember.
I think so.
And then from Los Angeles, and I guess they went to New Mexico specifically to visit family because it would help break up the drive. I don't know. I don't know what their reasoning was.
So moving from California to New York City, you grew up in Queens. Was there
we started in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Oh God.
Better. So was there like major culture shock going from basically living on a hippie commune to living in Brooklyn, New York? Like, I feel like if I was in first grade, because Dawn, were you in first grade at that point?
Yes.
Kindergarten?
I was in
you
first
were probably
grade,
about 6.
Probably. It was in December. I remember it was like really close to Christmas when we were coming over the bridge of New York when we
But for us,
came in.
Like, I have no memories of this, but I would imagine it wasn't very different for you and I, because we were still living in a house. We were
with other people.
We were still living communally. There were a lot of other people in this house, and there were other kids. So I don't feel.
I don't
like
think it was
traumatic for us. Although I do remember vividly hearing the way New Yorkers talked. Remember, we've talked about this on the podcast, and I remember thinking to myself that I did not like the way that they spoke. And
I love the New York accent.
Huh?
I love the New York accent. The New York and the North Jersey accents are my favorite.
I can appreciate them now, being married to one, but I did not enjoy the sound of it. But and then we lived in Brooklyn for 2 years. And then we moved to Queens, a little town, a little part of Queens called Bayside.
Bayside.
And we lived communally there as well.
Oh, wow.
We lived communally until I was in.
You were in.
Going into fifth grade, and you were going into 6th grade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then mom and dad bought a house in Queens Village. And then that's kind of where we spent the rest of our childhoods.
Wow.
Yeah.
So once you moved to Queens, you were a little bit older. What was being a teenager like living in New York City?
Rough.
Well, it was hard.
Because like you rode the bus, like you guys rode not like a school bus,
no,
a city bus.
No.
I took city buses.
City buses to school.
Mm-hmm. And you would get a bus pass, and so you could ride the bus for free, which was nice because then on the weekends
you could use your bus pass.
So
but like that is mind blowing to me. Like growing up in Texas,
there's
in this,
no
like,
real
suburban neighborhood,
public transportation.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is downtown,
there is, but like
yeah,
it's not like
downtown.
The idea of getting on a city bus to go to school terrifies me.
Oh, but
that's what you were used to. That was your normal.
Well, and I guess it didn't. So I would say the first day of school was terrifying because the route the school that Dawn and I went to, you had to transfer to another bus on the way there. You didn't just take one bus. And so I remember for me, like the first day of school, the scary part was making sure I got off at the right stop for the transfer and getting on the right bus.
Uh-huh.
That was
How
scary.
do you even find that out?
I don't remember.
There wasn't internet back then.
No. But there were I don't know.
There was schedules.
You could get a schedule.
Yeah.
Printed
They probably
schedule.
mailed something to you over the summer.
No.
Well, they would have pamphlets and you could kind of get an idea from that. Or
Did you have Meet the Teacher where you could like go and then they'd give you your pamphlet of like, okay, these are the bus routes? No?
No.
No, you just showed up at school.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
I don't remember this. So wait a second. So that's right. For high school, the first time I set foot in that high school was the first day of school.
Yeah, they didn't have I think they did have like parent teachers conferences, but
that was if you got in trouble.
Yeah.
But they didn't have like what Lorena's talking about is like Meet the Teacher where you get to go before school starts.
Mm-hmm. Because they even do that for high school for us, like freshmen.
Yeah,
we go during the summer. Camp. Yeah, and you go and you tour the school and you can see where everything is and
did not have
they had us get in groups of like 4 to and you had to be one from each middle school that transferred into the high school. So you could meet other people. It's crazy.
Did not have that.
What was your first job in high school?
Paula, didn't you work at Wendy's?
My very first job was at Wendy's.
And that's where you met.
That is where I met Aunt Marilyn.
The famous Aunt Marilyn.
The famous Aunt Marilyn. And that's where her first job was too. And we used to get sent out into the dining room to clean the tables. And we would not always clean the tables. Sometimes we would end up talking a little bit more than we were supposed to.
Did you ever get in trouble?
No. Never. No, but that was I want to say it was at that place where I learned the term, if you've got time to lean, you've got time to clean.
Yeah.
So if we weren't busy in the back, they'd send us out to the dining room to clean tables. And then both Marilyn and I quit that job and then went to go work at Roy Rogers, which was a fast food place that served fried chicken and burgers. And, it was kind of, I don't think there are any Roy Rogers that exist anymore. So we worked there together. We worked there together for a while. So yeah. I don't, Dawn, did you
Have a
work
first job in high school?
My first job was at McDonald's in high school.
How old were you when you started?
Let me see. I was about 16, 17
Okay.
when I got my first job.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was 14. But I don't know.
I
Really?
thought you
But
were 15 and Aunt Marilyn was 14. Or something like that. I
don't remember. I know
she's like a year younger than you.
Okay, let's not make it a big deal. I don't know. I guess I maybe was 15. I don't know. As soon as I was allowed, like legally allowed to work,
yeah.
I got.
Well, actually, my first job, first job, was when I was 15 at Camp Carith. I was taking care of the horses for the summer.
Yes.
I did that for I think 1 or 2 weeks.
Camp Carith was a summer camp that Grandma and Grandpa sent us to.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was.
We never got to go to summer camp.
No, because you have a loser for parents.
Yeah.
Summer camp's expensive.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes.
Texas?
Yeah.
Yes.
So growing up, high school, young adulthood, did you ever have any interest in going back and finding your birth mom? Because I want you to tell the story of when you met your birth mom.
We didn't need to search her because she found us.
Tell us more.
Wait, so in high school she found you?
No.
Oh, okay.
So Dawn, you did want to meet her growing up, right? Because there was some definite issues and struggles for Dawn because when she found out that Dad was not her biological dad, created some,
emotions.
Well, I think it also changes your identity, right?
Yes.
You're not who you thought you were.
Exactly. And I needed to find out who because my dad always would tell me how much I look like my mom, but I didn't know who she was. So for me, it was kind of like I needed to have some closure to find out who is this person they're referring to,
And I will say that from my perspective, again, my memory is not as good as yours is, Dawn, but from my perspective, I always felt like Mom and Dad never discouraged you from pursuing that. They were like, we understand that this is a path you want to go down and, we support you. It wasn't ever like, they didn't ever discourage you, probably because Dad knew once you met her.
Yes, which is exactly what had happened.
So when I got married, I was 22 years old, and 2 months after I got married, we got a phone call. And dad answered the phone, and the woman
dad, not Grandpa Dad.
Right, your dad answered the phone, and the woman on the other line said, "Is Paula there? It's Liz." And so your dad handed me the phone, and he said, "It's Liz." And I didn't think anything of it because at the time we had a friend named Liz, and so I just thought it was her. And I get on the phone, and it's a producer from the Maury Povich show. I am not.
Yeah, you heard that right.
Yes, let me repeat that. The Maury Povich show. And for those of you who are of an age, back then, Maury Povich, his shows focused more on reuniting families.
It
was before he got into the baby daddy phase of his career. And so as soon as they said, we believe we found your mom, like this flood of emotions came through me. And I just I didn't even know how to handle it. I got very emotional and I was crying, which was funny to me because growing up, I never had any desire to meet her. I used to tell people, I used to even joke around that if I ever did meet her, I'd punch her in the face. because she abandoned us. I was totally like Morgan, because that's something Morgan would do. And I had my mom and dad. Like I had no interest in meeting her. But when this woman said, "We have your mom," then I was like, well, at that point I was like, I did want to meet her. Because like Dawn said, like I wanted to see what she looked like. I wanted to see, I also wanted to know if there was some sort of a connection, this like connection that is like unearthly, like I would just know, that she was our mom. And so I started talking to them, and I was like, I have no interest in going on television to meet this woman, because as far as I was concerned, it was not going to be a happy reunion. I said, but I know someone who would. And so then they contacted you, Dawn, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think actually I remember Dad telling me about it first.
Well, probably because as soon as I hung up the phone with the show people, I called Dad, hysterical, crying. And also too, which this is really bizarre. So when I got on the phone with this woman, I went into the other room and I had the door shut. And so Daddy was in the living room. He didn't even know anything. And I got off the phone and I had a look of shock on my face. And he walked in and he goes, "That was about your mom, wasn't it?" And I was like, how he knew that is really bizarre to me, even to this day, because we'd never spoken of the woman. Like she'd never come up in any conversations before.
But he knew like of her.
He knew the story. Yeah. So,
wow.
So then they reached out to us, and Dawn, I guess they talked to you because you did agree to go on the show.
Yes. And I went on the show. You actually were there too. Back screen.
I was in the green room.
Yes.
Was it actually painted green? I've always wanted to know.
It was not. It was
not. And actually, when we were interviewed on air, it just didn't. Her story did not match.
No.
So it was
because they kind of interviewed her before you came out, right? And like you didn't hear what she said.
Well, they also interviewed her more as like a victim, right?
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
She did play the victim very well.
Extremely well.
Yeah.
Even when afterwards we went out to dinner or something with her, all of us, and we were trying to listen to her story or something, and it just did not sound right. Like it was
she
just
was also saying stuff, and I don't know, Dawn, when you were backstage, could you hear what she was saying on the stage?
No.
So she was saying things like, did you ever watch the episode?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So she was saying things like she's spent her whole life trying to find us, and that she tried to go back up to the hippie commune to get us, but she was met at the entrance with armed guards. Which was completely ridiculous because
they're hippies.
They were hippies. They were like, Jesus is love, peace, love, and happiness. Like they were not like gun-toting,
right?
No, and then she said that she tried to get the FBI involved because she said we were kidnapped. The dad kidnapped us.
Even though he legally adopted you.
Well, not only did he legally adopt us, but when we were in California, before they moved out of the state, I guess he had to get legal custody.
Yes.
Of both of us, more specifically Dawn, because she wasn't biologically his. And they had court hearings, and she was notified of these court hearings, and she never
showed up.
She never appeared to any of the court hearings. So the judge granted custody to Dad, which
back in the 70s is very unusual.
Back then, absolutely, was almost unheard of. Usually, the mom always got custody. So, so her stories, like Dawn said, they just didn't add up. And then she was like, You know, she tried to get the FBI involved, which if anybody knew our family, when we moved to New York, Grandpa started a business, and his name was in the yellow pages. Like, you know, anybody could look us up. He never changed his name. Our number was posted. Like, we were not hiding. So at any point and any time, she could have called.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
And she didn't.
No.
So.
Do you know, like, have you heard anything about her? Because that was before I was born. That was
yeah.
That was
years ago.
28 years ago.
Yeah. Erica was just
you
a
kept
brand
in touch
new
with
baby.
her for a little while after the show, right?
Yes. For 5 years actually.
Wow.
Really?
And you've met some of your other siblings as well, or contacted them, because she has other.
Yes.
She's had other kids besides y'all too.
Yes. She's had a total of 6. Me, the oldest. Then Paula.
With 5 different men. Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Girlfriend
Then
got around.
Johnny. But he passed away from SIDS, from what I was told. And then Pony, then Lonnie, and Jeffrey.
I don't know any of them.
Yeah. Well, Pony and I was connected after the show, and we kept in contact off and on for 2 years. But then we actually were reunited again about 8 years ago. So we kind of still keep in touch, you know, through Facebook. And
yeah, I kind of remember that that story coming about.
So what ended up happening with Kathy? Because I know after the show,
I have no
went
idea.
back to Kathy's hotel room and like hanging out with her. And I remember telling Dawn, do not tell her my last name.
Yeah.
I had just gotten married, so she didn't know what my new last name was because I didn't want to have anything to do with her. And, but Dawn, you kept in touch. So did she again just drop off the face of the earth?
Yep. Just dropped off the face of the earth. I mean, Pony wants nothing to do with her either, so can't really get help.
Didn't she lose custody of all of her kids?
Not all of them. The last one she had custody of, Jeffrey.
Okay.
Yeah, so that should tell you something.
Yeah.
That she didn't have custody of any of her children but the last one.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I mean,
you're the parents you have are your parents.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
Right. So
yes.
And
after I met her, I had a whole new respect for my mom and dad. I was like, thank you so much for raising me, because if I was raised by Kathy, I probably wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
She cray.
Put it lightly.
Okay, so I just want to say thank you, Aunt Dawn, for coming on and joining us and talking with us. We love you, and we wish you didn't live so far away. But I think that's all the time we have for today, and we just want to thank everyone for listening, and make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and if you could give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, that'd be awesome. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify as well, and if you have any advice or questions or topic ideas, be sure to email us at bestfamilyontheblock@gmail.com, and we can't wait to see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.